Okay, here we're going to learn about stables.
Rivali's Gale is now ready.
And catching horses. So there are plenty of stables throughout the game. This is the Dueling Peaks stable. Most likely the first stable that you'll run into if you follow the king's instructions and head towards Kakariko Village. So I decided to wait until I got this far to do a video on it because so I can show the locations of all the stables. But first I'll show you what you can do at the stables. I mean, these are good places to come if you want to sit by the fire. You can pass time away, like it's nighttime right now. I want to pass time away till morning. I can sit by the fire. I'll pass time to morning. And sometimes you'll find wood laying around at many of these stables if you want to pick up wood bundles. They come in useful when you're out. You need to start a fire like out in a random place of nowhere. You just throw one on the ground, and there's different ways to light wood. If you have a flame blade, you can use that. If you don't have a flame blade, as long as you got a metal sword and flint, which you find flint quite often around the game. You set a piece of flint down with the wood, strike it with a metal sword, and start a fire. You can sit by the fire. Unfortunately, you can't cook at these fires. You can only cook at the fires that have pots at them. So, like, let's say I want to cook an Endura shroom. So you can cook things. If you want to learn more about cooking, you can watch a video I did specifically on cooking food. Kind of shows the ingredients, what they all do. Other things you can do, if the fire's not lit, let's say it's raining out. Whenever it's raining, the fire won't be lit. So if you want to pass time, you can also come inside the stable and sleep. So if I choose a regular bed, let's say I got damage to my hearts, a regular bed will refill those hearts. If I choose a soft bed, it'll refill the hearts, plus give me a temporary heart. Costs 40 rupees. So now I got the yellow temporary heart, and I keep that heart until I lose it from damage, like getting hit by a monster or something. At each stable you'll run into this guy, Beetle. And you can buy stuff off of him, like arrows. Now I've already bought arrows off him many times. I'm not sure if those arrows respawn, because I'm pretty sure I would have already bought those arrows off of them. But every time you buy arrows off Beetle, like I bought them off him at the stable, if I come back to the stable, he'll still be sold out. But if I go find him in another stable, he'll have a fresh stock of arrows in. So at every single stable you go to, Beetle always sells arrows. As for the other 3 items, it's different depending on what stable you're at. So anytime you're at Dueling Peaks stable, they'll always be selling the Restless Cricket, the Hot-Footed Frog, and the Octobloon. I usually only buy arrows off of them. You can also sell stuff to them if you want rupees. I usually only sell stuff I'll need. Now these ancient parts do sell for a high price, but I don't like to sell those because early on in the game I want to save them for buying the armor that I'm currently wearing here. So I'll show some of the stuff I do normally sell them though. Like ambers are worth 30 rupees. Luminous stones are worth 70 each. Opals are worth 60. Now, if you're wondering where to get this stuff, ambers and opals you find quite often early on in the game. I'll kind of show in a minute here how to farm for them. You get monster parts.
Wow!
Now, some of these monster parts, such as the Molduga guts, the Molduga fins, you're not going to find them until later on in the game. But these other monster parts you might occasionally come across.
Wow!
Diamonds are fairly rare, but they sell for 500 rupees, so they're kind of nice. When you do find them, some other good gemstones are rubies, sapphires, and topazes. Each sell for right around 200 rupees. The rubies are worth 210, sapphires are 260, the topazes are 180. So, I think that's all I'm going to sell them right now. Just kind of want to show. But sometimes if you come to a stable and you don't see Beetle around, if you sit by the fire, or sleep inside, once you wake up or get up from the fire, all of a sudden he'll be inside. Otherwise, you can also go walking around the stable. Sometimes you'll see him walking to or from the stable. But he's at every single stable. So, another thing with stables, you want to look around them. Sometimes you'll find helpful items, such as here's a woodcutter's axe. I already showed the wood bundles. Here's some apples. You can always break these crates here and get stuff out of them. Arrows and apples, kind of common to find inside crates. Okay, now as for the location of stables, actually I guess I should show the most important thing about a stable is it's where you can store your horses, and I'll show how to catch a horse. So here's one spot where you can find horses. Sometimes they can be hard to catch, but you usually find them out around this field somewhere. There's some. Okay, now there's... You try to sneak up on them. They're kind of hard to catch that way. See, they do that. So I'm going to show a way that I like to catch them. Get some ice arrows. And just wait for him to thaw out, and keep tapping the A button. You'll jump on him right away when he thaws out. And you want to keep tapping the L1 button, and that'll calm him down. So that's how I caught the horse. And now if you're wondering where to get ice arrows early in the game, I'll show in a little bit here. Okay, so when you catch yourself a new horse, see, he's going to keep bucking around like that. You want to keep tapping the L1 button to soothe him. So when you catch a new horse, bring it to a stable. Talk to the guy at the front, and he'll ask him if you want to register it. Say yes. See, right there shows the bond's only 18. So when your bond is low, it's going to keep bucking around and jerking, and when you're riding him, it seems like he's drunk. He starts going off in weird directions. You got to keep tapping the L1 button to calm him down. . And you enter a name for your horse. Whoops. I usually name mine after Nintendo legends, such as Shigeru Miyamoto, who created Zelda and Mario. I've got another horse in the game named Yokoi, named after Gunpei Yokoi, who created the Game Boy and the Metroid games. I'll name this one after Hiroshi Yamauchi, who was the president of Nintendo when they got into video games. He was Nintendo's president for the longest time, too. From 1949 to 2002, he was Nintendo's president. Okay, so you can take your horse with you. And once you have a horse registered, and like let's say you're kind of far away from them, like let's say you're way over here, you want your horse, just hit down on the down button on your left Joy-Con. You whistle and your horse will come running right to you. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and board my horse. Okay, so now you can travel to any stable. You can board your horse at a stable, and next time you're at another stable, you can take your horse out of that stable. So it's like when you transport from one area to another by clicking on these blue icons and traveling. Your horse does not travel with you, but you can board your horse, travel to another stable, and you can take your horse out of that stable. Now, I can't necessarily travel to other stables, but every single stable in the game has a shrine near it where you can travel to it. So like let's say we're Riverside Stable here, it's got the Wago Kata shrine. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. You can travel to that stable, and then your horse is there. Each stable looks slightly different. For the most part, they're the same. You're going to run into Beetle at every one. He says something different at every stable, but that phrase that he does say at the stable, he'll always say that same phrase at that same stable. Okay, so here's the Riverside Stable. There's Beetle. So you can take horse, and see, I've got 3 horses right now, Miyamoto, Yokoi, and Yamauchi. You could save up to 5 horses in a stable at a time. It shows the bond. See, I've got a max bond with these other ones. Yamauchi, my bond is smaller because I just got him. Now, if you want to get a horse, it doesn't take long to grow a bond with them. You can there's bokoblins you'll see riding on horses. If you kill that bokoblin, knock him off his horse, and take his horse, then the bond grows like really quick. Okay, now as for ice arrows, I mentioned getting ice arrows. You can usually find those really early in the game when you start on the Great Plateau region. There's a shrine over here. Which one is it? I think it's this one. So it's early on in the game. You can get these arrows like even before you get your first shrine. But I usually wait until I get the 4 shrines in the Great Plateau region before getting the ice arrows. If you'd like to see more of the game that I might not have shown in some of my videos. Got a full playthrough. Okay, so if you go over here, okay, this is a bottomless bog right here. You don't want to step in it because you'll sink like quicksand. But now, early in the game, there are 2 treasure chests on that platform. The only reason they're not there now is because I already got them. But if you create a on this block right here, oh, you can get over this platform. There's 2 treasure chests. One has fire arrows in it, the other one has ice arrows in it, so you can get those early on in the game. Okay, now as for where are all the stables? Well, you got them scattered throughout the entire game. There's Highland Stable down here, Lakeside Stable, there's the Dueling Peak Stable, which we've already seen. Foothill Stable, South Acala Stable, there's the East Acala Stable, Woodland Stable, Wetland Stable, Outskirts Stable, Gerudo Canyon Stable, Tabantha Bridge Stable, Serene Stable, Snowfield Stable, Rito Stable. I think that might be all of the stables. You also got villages, which are little yellow icons too. Unfortunately, you know what I think they should have put in the video, or in the villages that they didn't, is they should have had like stables there too, so you could ride your horse to a village and board them, but now you just have to take them to a stable to do that. But I think that is pretty much every stable. Can't remember if I mentioned Outskirts Stable. Actually, I think I did. Now, if you're looking for Hestu, you'll find him. You can watch my video if you don't know who he is, but he'll help expand your weapon stash. Like, check out my weapon stash. When you first start out, you can only hold up to 8 weapons. Now you can see how many weapons. Like, I can hold a lot more now, 15. That's from meeting Hestu. And the first time you meet him is outside Kakariko Village, but then after that, run into him at Riverside Stable, Wetland Stable, and Woodland Stable before you finally run into him in Korok Forest. So, anyway, I think that is pretty much everything there is to say on stables.